The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, is brought to you by, well, of course, you. If you want to learn more about how you can support the show, go to patreon.com/expat2020. Hey, welcome everybody to The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is Expat 2020, along with my co-host Dan. This is episode 8. Dan, how you doing today, man?
I'm all right. Episode 8 already.
Yeah.
Wow. How are you?
Yeah. Doing good, man. Doing good. The weather's starting to cool down a little bit out here. So how's the weather for you out there?
Yeah, nice, clear skies. Pretty chilly temp. Well, I think it's chilly. I've not been outside yet. But yeah, it's all right. Looks good from the window.
Cool. And today we have another special guest to welcome into the arena. So a friend of mine and fellow Twitch streamer and community member, CrabbyX10. Crabby, how are you today, man?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you very much. Yeah,
cool.
Pretty good.
So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and what type of gamer you are and what kind of games you're playing?
Sure. I stream on Twitch, CrabbyX10, bit of a plug. Currently playing Fallout 4. It's an oldie goldie, I suppose, now. Not that old, but pretty old. And it's fun. My go-to game tends to be RimWorld, which is more of a crazy strategy sort of game where you get man-eating squirrels and hordes of beavers trying to take down your base, which is funny, if nothing else. I tend to be the strategy or RPG. Looking forward to Baldur's Gate in a couple of weeks because that's got Twitch integration as well, so I can almost dungeon master the whole thing and let the kind of viewers decide what I'm going to do with the characters. So looking forward to that one. That's me, really.
Okay. So before we, Dan and I jump into what we've been playing, I want to tell everyone out there that you can head over to The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, as well as on Spotify. Just download your favorite podcast app or open Spotify and search for The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a website for the podcast at expat2020.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. Also, if you'd like to support the show and get early access to every episode and listen ad-free along with other perks, please visit patreon.com/expat2020 for further details. You can also follow us on Twitter at The Arena, AMPGNP. And finally, the podcast will also be uploaded to my YouTube channel at Expat 2020 Gaming, so you can go there to listen and subscribe and click that notification bell for future podcast episodes, and also leave any comments or questions you might have that we might read on a future episode. So Dan, what have you been playing this week, man?
I've been playing an awful lot of Dragon Quest Builders 2, but then yesterday the Mario 3D All-Stars arrived, so I've been nothing but Mario 64 for the last few hours.
Oh, that's my favourite. That was my favourite of the Marios.
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah. That's pretty much it for me. How about you guys? What are you up to?
Well, basically, I got back into Ghost of Tsushima because I want to finish up the campaign in that, and I'm still playing Tell Me Why and the Awe expansion. I'm probably going to finish that tonight, actually. I was hoping to finish it last week, but I got a little bit sidetracked, so with Ghost of Tsushima. So I'm probably going to try to finish it tonight. So
that's a very pretty game. Haven't played it yet, but it's so good to kind of watch people play it. Just for the fluttering flowers, if nothing else.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful game. So actually, I've been to Tsushima Island as well. It's not that beautiful now, but it's a great game. So I'm really enjoying the story. So cool. All right. So what we'll do now is we're going to jump this podcast this week is going to be this episode. Actually, we're going to be talking a lot about PlayStation. So, and what happened during the PlayStation showcase. But there's one news story that I want to go through first, and that's about Nintendo. So Nintendo has discontinued the 3DS. So Nintendo has discontinued every model of the 3DS, according to its Japanese website. The page listings for the new 3DS LL, new 2DS LL, and 2DS are still alive, but each product lists as out of production under its name. And a message on the main page says that the entire series has ended production. So the 3DS was announced in 2010 and released the following year. It suffered a rocky launch, though, with low sales and little software of note, but started to pick up momentum after a dramatic price cut just a few months after its release. By way of apology to early adopters, Nintendo made 20 NES and Game Boy Advance games available for free. So, 3DS, it's time to shut the door on this part of gaming history. Dan, what do you think of this, man?
Yeah, well, as soon as the Switch came out, the 3DS became pretty irrelevant. It's sad because it was a pretty alright machine in the end. But yeah, it's pretty predictable. Yeah, it was the right time. I probably could have done it before actually, because what's really been happening on the 3DS in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I only had one to play Pokemon on, really, and as soon as that started coming out on Switch, it's like, well, I'm on Switch then.
Jump ship. Yeah, wacky.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, living out here in Japan, I remember, about 10 years ago, everybody like in Akihabara area, everybody holding a 3DS, sitting next to Yodobashi, and on the trains and everything. Dan, you remember that too, right? Yeah.
So for people who don't know, like on the 3DS, you could have this NFC thing where if you were nearby people, you added them to your friend roster, and that friend roster opened up things in like little mini games, like you got puzzle pieces and other stuff. And basically, you needed hundreds and hundreds of puzzle pieces to finish like the 10 inbuilt puzzles, which were then displayed like Nintendo characters. And in a single afternoon, just sat outside Yodobashi Akiba, I 100%ed all the mini games just because there are that many people all sharing their Mii creations. It was absolutely nuts.
That's so cool.
But yeah, it was. But then that went away pretty quickly. That didn't last very long. I mean, I left Japan 2016, but even before that, 2015, 2014, that had finished.
Yeah. It sounds like Pokemon Go with everybody kind of walking around outside to catch the Pokemon.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like that. But yeah, everyone's like just in one location just to maximize their clicks. But yeah, it was really weird. But it didn't last. Yeah, very very long. Strangeness.
So for you guys, what are your biggest memories of like the 3DS? I mean, some of the greatest games that you played on it. For me, of course, the Zelda games like A Link Between Worlds, Ocarina of Time. I loved Luigi's Mansion also. What about for you guys? What games stood out for you during the 3DS era?
Blech.
For me, it was just Pokemon. That's all I really used it for. I had the Nintendo consoles for the other games, but Pokemon wasn't on those, and I really wanted Pokemon. So, yeah, it was all the Pokemon games on there. I was obsessed with them. Love to catch the legendaries.
Yeah. Dan, how about you?
Well, I can't even remember. What did I play on it? I played Ocarina on it a lot. That was pretty good. Mm-hmm. The Shinobi game was pretty good. I enjoyed that too. Yeah. I guess I traded most of my 3DS games in because I wasn't that impressed with it. Even though I've got every variant of it now, which is kind of weird now I think about it. But yeah, what else I played in that? Yeah,
Fire Emblem Awakening, that was a great one too. So.
That was good. I enjoyed the Luigi's Mansion remake. That was pretty good. So they remade 1 and put 2 on there as well. I didn't get that far into 2. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah. End of an era for sure. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's like I don't think we're going to see anything like that anymore. I mean, especially with the Switch and probably the upgraded Switch that's coming next year. PlayStation, whether or not they come out with a second generation of a Vita.
Nope.
I don't think we're going to see anything like that.
I don't know. I think
the
it could be
future-
like the end of these sort of handhelds, except for Switch. I think the Switch will keep going because Nintendo will just keep exclusive. But with xCloud, with Stadia, with PS Now, all coming to mobile phones in some sort of way, or tablets.
Yeah.
I can't necessarily see a future for handhelds beyond Switch.
Yeah, handhelds and, for example, like a hybrid where it's like a handheld, but then you dock it or something like that with the Switch.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Cool. All right. Okay. So we're going to jump into the topic of the week early this week because we got a lot of stuff to talk about with what happened with PlayStation. So as most of you probably already know by now, PlayStation had their showcase, which they discussed their pricing, the release date. So let's go over the pricing first. So the physical version of the PS5 is going to run for $500 US. And so that's what $449 for you guys, right?
Yep.
In pounds.
Yeah.
And then the digital version is going to be running for $400 US. And how much is that in pounds, guys? For you guys, $400 US.
£359 it's going for. It's great value.
Yeah. So, and the release date will be on November 12th. For the United States, Canada, Mexico, I think Australia, New Zealand, South Korea. Yeah. And in the UK, it will be November 19th and across the rest of Europe. So, and in Japan, it's on the 12th as well as the US and Canada, which I'm kind of happy about because when the PS4 came out, and Dan, you remember this too, we had to wait until February the next year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, how crazy that was. But yeah, so in the UK, you guys have to wait 1 week, but that's not so long. So
no, it's not so bad.
Anyway, so let's start with the pricing. What do you guys feel about that, Dan? I know last week on the show you were talking about $449. It didn't work out that way, but what do you think of the $500, $400 price points?
It seems really weird not to undercut Xbox. Not even by a tenner. Like, just take £10 off. Just take that hit, and you would have. I don't know. It just seems really weird just to match them. I don't know.
I think that's all they need to do, though, because Xbox have no games at launch and no games anywhere near launch, whereas PlayStation have a decent lineup. If they match, they're going to win.
Really?
Well, compared to Xbox, they have a game, so they're winning. Their digital edition is just as good as their disc drive edition, but is quite significantly cheaper. So it's not like the Series S where it's a lesser console, to be frank. It's only 4 teraflops. I think it's about as powerful as the One X, maybe not quite. And that's their new console, and that's probably their equivalent to the digital edition. But the digital edition has no drop off of performance. It's just the difference of not having a disc drive. But that disc drive seems ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, I mean, since when has a disc drive been like 90 quid?
Yeah, that seems absurd.
I don't know where they got that number from. Which means they're probably massively overcharging for the main unit. I don't know. That seems really weird.
I'm thinking maybe they're just charging for the use of backwards compatibility of the disc games, because they seem very much against backwards compatibility historically. And the only way to get it for your older games on PS4 that are on disc is to have the disc version. You can't register it in any way for the digital edition. That's the same for Xbox as well, actually.
So what do you guys think about the digital version versus the optical drive version? I think, which do you think is going to sell more? Personally, I think the digital edition is going to sell more. I mean, if you look at the pre-order fiasco that we had the past couple of days, it's like there's no way to find a digital edition anywhere. So
I think they've made more of the disc ones initially, and they'll sell more because there is more of them. I think they've probably got it the wrong way around, but I agree. Long term, definitely digital edition will outsell because the price difference is huge, and there's going to be less need for discs in the long run. But it does mean you're kind of subject to the PSN pricing rather than external stores, which, let's face it, the PSN store can be quite expensive.
I still don't understand why again, it doesn't exist, is £10 more than the physical copy. I'll never understand why. I can get it on day one, digital download, for £10 more than a physical copy. It just blows my mind. And then, when it all goes all digital and there's no competition and the stores won't be undercutting each other, Sony can just go, right, games are now £75. Deal with it.
I think that's a big concern of a lot of console gamers. Like, if we're stuck with one provider on the platform, rather than maybe publishers having their own stores within that kind of, operating system, that might fix it. But otherwise, it's kind of a scary future on the pricing aspect for games.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, do you think in any way, I mean, just thinking about what we saw at this showcase, just boom, 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 exclusive. I mean, it was just an exclusive blitz. Sony, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to digital showcases and showcases in general, they're just leaps and bounds above Xbox right now. Do you think this could be 2013 all over again? I mean, especially when it comes to the exclusives. I mean, just pouring it on and showing that, hey, this is where you can play all the best games, on the PS5. Whereas Xbox, they still don't have any exclusives for at least the next year or two from the new studios. I mean, so could this be like another 2013 all over again? What do you guys think?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I know people. I work with people. I work with at least 2 people who are going to buy an Xbox Series One XY on like day one, and I've begged them to explain to me why, and none of them can, which is brilliant. But they're all there day one, cash in hand for an Xbox Series One FTP. It just seems bonkers. So the psychotic Xbox fanboys, I guess, are what we'll see them through the first year. But I mean, they've got absolutely nothing to show for it.
No, there's nothing.
But
they're going to be relying on upgrades of games, aren't they? Of say Cyberpunk and third-party games, upscaling their games for them, and
stuff you've already got.
That's not a way to start a generation, is it?
No. But the Sony's mostly sequels and follow-ups and stuff, isn't it? I remember I was watching. I just got the clip notes of the presentation, and it's all like, oh yeah, sequel, expansion, sequel. There's only like 3 new games coming out for the PS5 at launch. Kind of meh.
Yeah, Spider-Man, we know what it is. That'll be fun. It's going to be like the same again, but it'll be fun. Demon Souls, I can't play those sort of games. It'll just enrage me completely. But I know there's a lot of people out there that like it, and that's a launch day title, so that'll be pretty good. But yeah, I suppose PlayStation just have the advantage of having 2 or 3 games at launch compared to 0 from Microsoft. So yeah, it's going to be a repeat. The only thing I'd say is maybe Xbox are being a bit more user-friendly with their marketing and with their kind of social media teams. Because if you remember back in 2013, they were pushing it as the Xbox One as an all-media product, not a gaming product.
Oh, God, yeah.
It was all kind of, this will give you Netflix, like, you can play DVDs.
The DVR,
I don't need another one. I just want to play games. So it seems like they have very much moved towards being a gaming platform rather than a console. So very much their Game Pass, cross on PC and that sort of thing. Because I have no reason to get an Xbox now because all their games are going to be on PC. I have a PC. I might as well just go in there.
Or phone.
Yeah, or phone.
Yeah. With xCloud, yeah. Yeah, they have become more gamer-friendly. But until we see those exclusives, until we see what they have in store in the next couple of years, I don't know, man. Yeah. I mean, Game Pass, is an excellent, program that they've, come out with. So, that is a bargain. And so, for the the new gamer or for the gamer that's looking for a bargain. I mean, Game Pass is there. So we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and run down the list of what they showed at the showcase. So actually, as the showcase started, we had a look at the new Final Fantasy 16. And actually, it's interesting because at the very beginning, or I should say at the very ending, when you see the Final Fantasy 16 logo, you see this little box there, the little characters at the bottom, and it says will be on PC as well. So
the little asterisk by it,
yeah. So who knows? Maybe in some period of time it'll come to Xbox as well. Like Game Pass is getting a lot of the other Final Fantasy games on Game Pass.
If you notice, they did that for a lot of their PlayStation games. So there was a lot of asterisks saying exclusive to console.
Yeah,
exclusive for this console, but not necessarily PC.
Yeah. So anyway, we saw about 5 minutes of that, and we saw gameplay from it as well. So, and then next they showed. Before I go on, Sony's when they showed Final Fantasy 16, they said it was running on a PC that was emulating what the PS5 is capable of. But after that point, we were told everything shown was running on a PS5. And so then they jumped into Spider-Man Miles Morales, which looked really cool. I really love that part where he's holding the bridge together. Kind of reminded me of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, when he was holding the train line together. Yeah. As well as the Tom Holland trying to, with the help of Iron Man, holding that ferry together. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. But it looks really good. And the thing about this one, though, it's also going to be on PS4. So those of you that want to play Miles Morales and are thinking to hold off on buying a PS5 on day one, you'll still be able to play Miles Morales on PS4. So that's interesting.
Brilliant.
Next up was Hogwarts Legacy, the Harry Potter game that was first reported back in 2018 by Eurogamer. So looks very RPG in style. What'd you guys think of that one? It's based in the 19th century. So
I hadn't heard of it before, but it looked really interesting, really good, particularly the outside landscapes. But I'd like to know more about what it is. Is it an RPG? Is it MMO kind of, or is it just an action adventure game where you follow a strict storyline? I just want to know a bit more about it, but it looks amazing.
Yeah, Black looks it's right. It's Harry Potter's not really my cup of tea, so I kind of dismissed that one.
Okay. Then Activision stepped in and showed the first campaign level from Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which is a plane chase with suitably loud explosions, of course. So, another Call of Duty, just like we do every year. I'm sure the campaign's probably going to be about 10 hours at the most, probably less than that. And then it's going to be just full-scale multiplayer. That's usually my take on Call of Duty. And then Capcom turned up to show the second trailer for Resident Evil Village. Yeah, and it looks like they're sticking with the name for that game. So it's kind of like the Roman numeral 8 in, of course, in with Village there for Resident Evil. So what'd you guys think of this one, man? I hope they make this in VR mode, just like the Resident Evil 7 was in VR mode. Love to see that.
It looks good.
I'm not a huge fan of scary games. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, so I may watch a little bit every now and then, but I am playing it. No way.
Yeah.
It seems to be. It's they've confirmed it's a direct sequel to 7, and it's going to have some of the recurring characters. So that's quite interesting. It should be good. I think they've announced that as Mia from 7 that Chris is taking care of. So it's been interesting to see the motivations of what's gone on there.
Yeah,
but getting a definite Resi 4 vibe off it, which is very, very cool indeed. Up for it.
So moving on, video game developer Legend Lorne Lanning showed off more of Oddworld Soul Storm, which looks pretty promising. So it looked pretty cool. And then we moved on to Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, which they didn't show any gameplay or any kind of trailer. It was just kind of like a 5-second little, security breach clip. But at least we know that is coming now. And then we get another look at Deathloop, the next game from the brilliant brains behind Dishonored and Prey. And that game was delayed into 2021. So, it looked pretty promising, looked pretty cool. So it's another one coming early next year, hopefully. And then things really got going with the exclusives, and Sony showed over 4 minutes of Demon's Souls running on PS5. So this could be the launch title that everyone's going to be playing on day one, I think. Another Dark Souls type of game, another Bloodborne type of game. Dan, right up your alley, eh?
Kinda, yeah. I've played. So obviously, I love Bloodborne. I got very, very bored by Dark Souls, but Demon Souls was good. I got quite far into Demon Souls, but then you just get to a wall. It's properly hard.
Yeah. Crabby, are you going to play this one? Yeah.
Maybe. I'd struggle not to buy games at launch because I get on hype trains and get overexcited. So I might try it, but I've managed to avoid most of the other ones just because I don't want to get frustrated when playing games. I don't have a lot of time. If I'm getting stuck, then it's going to annoy me. But it looks really good. And I have to say the launch titles for this generation look much better than last generation. I end up with Killzone on PS4, and I think within about a week it was down to £3 in value. So, yeah, I'm happier this time around, definitely.
Okay. And then next they showed Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, so that will be out on PS5. And then, of course, Fortnite on PS5. Yes, of course. What else did we expect? I mean, of course, Fortnite's going to be on PS5, right?
Yeah,
as well as Apex. Yeah, it was like boom, boom, boom. Okay, boom, boom.
It was just like an advert in the middle, really, wasn't it? It's like, oh yeah, this is still here.
Yeah. And then after that, Sony announced the PlayStation Plus collection, which it looks like an answer. It's not an answer to Game Pass, but I mean, you get a really good value. So for free, basically, you're getting a lot of the PlayStation 4 exclusives from the last generation, basically for free if you're a PlayStation Plus member, as soon as you get a PS5. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, the information about the price and the availability of the PS5 SKUs were mentioned. And then that one last thing moment.
Oh, yeah.
One last thing moment was the teaser for the next God of War game from Sony Santa Monica. Yeah, so Ragnarok coming in 2021. Now, I have a question for you guys, and this is just something I've been thinking about. Now, of course, Uncharted 4 had, the Lost Legacy, and that was like a 10-hour adventure. And then you have Miles Morales coming, which is another, I would say, probably 10 to 15 hour, kind of like a DLC, but not a DLC, but kind of like an expansion. So my question to you guys is, so Sean Layden, who was the, worldwide entertainment, president until recently, before he stepped down, he was talking about, they're going to have to scale down the exclusives. I mean, instead of having like a 4-year time gap between big exclusives, scale them down. And then, for example, like every 2 years get something. So my question to you guys is, maybe Ragnarok is going to be like a 10-hour type of game, like a Miles Morales or a Lost Legacy for Uncharted 4, that, it's not going to be a full God of War 2, but it's going to be something that they can get out next year. I don't know. What do you guys think of this?
I don't know. I don't think they'd do that to God of War. It's like almost their franchise game now. I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, no, not for God of War. I don't think. Yeah, there's too much. If the previous one was such a success, and it's yeah, I think that'd be crazy to make it a scaled down one. I mean, yeah, generally speaking, broadly games do need shrinking and scaling down, but I don't think it's such a massive thing like that. And no. But I can imagine, and what you just said to me is gave me chills because I thought of like EA hearing this and going, yeah, that's right. We'll make all our games like, in 5-hour chunks and just portion them out over a year. It's a nightmare scenario. But yeah, no, I can't imagine. But yeah, some games, it might work. It might be okay.
Yeah, I think for that to work, you need kind of a big base. Kind of like what GTA 5 did. They started off with a great base game, great single player, pretty bare bones online. But then they've patched that online so much to now that actually that's basically a full-on MMO. So, if they can do that sort of vibe and then not necessarily charge for every extra part, then that'd be great. But yeah, I can't see them doing it to God of War 2 because judging by the end of the last game, this will be featured on Thor, right? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's too much of a big story to kind of shortchange it. And if they do, well, then that could be the end of that franchise.
Well, it could be like they're just shortening it for Ragnarok, but then like in another 2 years, they're going to have the full God of War 2 come out or something like that. I don't know.
That's possible, like a little interim episode. That
could be, I suppose. Yeah.
But then if you'd figure they'd have more than a logo to show for that. I mean, so God of War came out, I don't know, 2017, 18, something like that. It's been out a fair while. So obviously they've got the assets and they've been, I mean, even before God of War 1 came out, they would have been prepping for God of War 2. So they've had a nice lengthy dev period. So I don't know. No, I'd imagine it'd be more of a substantial. I don't know.
I expect they've already got the full trilogy written because it's all got a link together, I think.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like a trilogy. So hopefully it all links together well.
So what game stood out to you guys the most during the showcase? For me, it was Miles Morales. I'm really looking forward to Spider-Man, to playing this next chapter. And what they were saying in the Miles Morales reveal there in the gameplay, that it's 1 year after the story events of the main game. So I'm really looking for that. What about you guys? Which game stood out the most?
Yeah.
Go on then.
No, after you.
All right. Yeah, for me, it was Final Fantasy 16. I am not a huge Final Fantasy fan by any means. In fact, I tend to wind up a couple of people in our community about how many sequels there are, just because I like to get a reaction. But this trailer actually got me kind of a bit more interested, a bit more excited. It looked to have a lot more elements and I suppose maybe the graphics to match the imagination of the story to make it look, I suppose, fun, interesting, intriguing. So I'm actually quite looking forward to that. So I want to see a bit more, but I'll probably buy that one, which will be the first time I've probably bought one for a long time.
Cool.
And Dan, how about you? What stood out?
I've got to say, man, absolutely nothing. I know I come across like some, curmudgeon retro games are better, but I've got to say, none of these grabbed me in any way, shape, or form. I got to say, like the Xbox and the new PlayStation, the worst lineups in video game history for launch titles across the board. It's universally uninspired, uninteresting. There's nothing new or original on any of these machines. To be honest, I'm kind of not going to bother buying either of them, just because. Yeah, it's just really crap. Just sequels and just generic. I mean, like the officially announced launch games. So we've got Demon's Souls, Godfall, Spider-Man, that Sackboy game.
Oh, yeah.
There's an Astro thing built into the machine, right?
Yeah,
I think
the Astrobot. Yeah.
Godfall, and like Just Dance, and it's like
is Horizon next year? Was it Horizon 2? That's
yes,
next year,
that's
isn't
Well, they're saying spring of 2021 at the moment. Who knows? But
which is also going to run on PS4, which is really
that's right.
weird.
Yes, PS4.
Really weird. Everything, but there's a lot of stuff that's anyway. Yeah, it just seems meh. Like if I had to at gunpoint play something on the PS5, it'd probably be Demon's Souls. But yeah, I've got to say this is the worst lineup there's been in. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's really interesting too that they mention that you will be able to play Spider-Man Miles Morales on PS4, and you will be able to play, Horizon 2 on the PS4. So that gives a lot of people
no need
out
to buy
there that are, they were on the fence about whether or not to buy the PS5 day one. That just gives them incentive now to wait until the spring.
Yeah.
So
get
we'll
the hardware
see.
bugs out and all that jazz. Yep.
Yeah. If you are willing to wait as well, Xbox do have quite a few games in the pipeline which may come out over the next couple of years. So it'll be a bit more of a difficult decision at that point. I think at launch, PlayStation has the advantage, but maybe a year or two down the line when Obsidian get Avowed out and then there's a couple of more games from Xbox that'll be coming out as well, it'll be a lot more even. But it might be too late for Xbox.
Yeah, especially when Hellblade 2 comes out. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
And then the new Gears of Wars and all that sort of thing start kind of coming out. That'll even things up, but it'll be too late.
Yeah, and they just announced recently, the other day or two, Gears Tactics is going to be day one as well. That was originally on PC, but now it's jumping over to the consoles for the launch. So we'll see. So I want to talk now about that PlayStation rules out a Game Pass equivalent for PS5.
Weird.
So PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan has stated that a PS5 subscription model similar to that of the Xbox Game Pass is not something the company is interested in. So in a new interview with GameIndustry.biz in the wake of the PS5 release date and PS5 price reveal, the Sony executive explaining that, quote, having a catalog of games is not something that defines a platform, end quote. So he says, quote, we have had this conversation before. We are not going down the road of putting new release titles into a subscription model. These games cost many millions of dollars, well over $100 million to develop. We just don't see that as sustainable, end quote. So, do you think this is going to affect PlayStation going into the next generation? Not creating some type of Game Pass equivalent?
No.
What do you guys think, man?
No, because that Sony have got the games that people want to buy. People are going to spend money on these games, on these exclusives. And also, I think more should be mentioned about the fiscal nature of this, like how it cannot be sustainable to have all of your $60 games on the day they come out being available for free. That's an impossible model. I don't know how they're doing it. I generally don't know how this is going to work out for Xbox.
I don't know. I mean, I suppose I kind of see it from the other perspective. From a fiscal viewpoint, you're going to have a lot more people willing to pay £10 a month to have access to these games. And a lot of those people wouldn't necessarily drop more than, buy more than 1-2 games a year. There's a few of us who are hardcore gamers who it'll save a fortune for, but in the majority of cases, it'll be a profit for PlayStation. And also it's then regular income. And considering that PlayStation accounts for 25% of all of Sony's revenue, that's to have a regular income. That would be a big thing to miss out on. It's almost changing it from a console to a service platform. It's a big jump to make, but I think it's been proved to be quite profitable for Xbox, and so much so that other companies are doing it. There's Nvidia's service. There's who else is doing it? Somebody else is doing it. Epic are giving away free games all the time, so there's got to be something to it.
I guess, but it just seems, well, like the man just said, it's not fiscally viable for them. I don't know. It just seems really weird, and there's no need for Sony to do it at all. It's kind of like I don't know. It's just smacks of last resort on the Xbox rather. Just seems a play here, play our games for free. I don't know.
I think for Xbox, it's more they're going for multi-platform. They don't care whether you're on Xbox or PC. They just want you to play their games. They're getting income from everywhere. Because that's what PlayStation are also doing now. They're porting all their games to PC. But they won't be able to charge the same prices on PC as they do for PlayStation because people just wait for it to drop. Because PC gamers try to be a bit more savvy about it seems.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another big cross against this generation of consoles as well. Because we're getting to the point now where you might as well just have a PC.
Yeah.
Which is quite a sad place to be. I mean, we've had PCs in the living room for a while now. I mean, from PS3 onwards, you've had a PS3, a PC in your living room. And it's kind of like all of the exclusives, quote, are actually coming to PC anyway. Yeah. So it's kind of like, well, why bother with the consoles now?
Yeah, it seems Sony have just realised how much income they've been missing out on. And it was one of their stock meetings about 3 months ago. They said they're going to investigate PC ports for pretty much all their games going forward. So, yeah, there won't really be any PlayStation exclusives. There'll be console exclusives, but not.
Yeah.
That'd be it, really.
Kind of sucks.
And with the PlayStation Plus collection, I want to go over that a little bit more here. They described it as a new PlayStation Plus benefit for PS5. It's a bundle of generation-defining PS4 games that you'll be able to download at launch on the company's new console. Games consist of first-party classics like Uncharted 4, God of War, The Last of Us Remastered, Bloodborne, plus third-party titles like Batman Arkham Knight, Fallout 4, which, Krabby, you've been streaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Mortal Kombat 10 and more. So, like, for example, The Last Guardian, Ratchet and Clank, Infamous Second Son, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, Persona 5, Until Dawn, and Resident Evil Biohazard. So
good selection.
Yeah, solid very game. Good selection. Yeah. So those that are possibly that maybe skipped over the PS4 generation that are going to buy a PS5, well, now you got pretty much most of the defining console exclusives for PlayStation 4. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, particularly with quite the shallow lineup, having those games there will help, I suppose, keep things going for a while.
Yeah. One thing that we didn't hear at the showcase, though, was the situation regarding what the new interface is going to look like for the PS5. So the PS5 user interface reveal is coming, says a PlayStation boss. For example, the showcase was exciting, but it's a shame we didn't see anything on the console's user interface. But I think that's more for a different showcase, for like the tech nerd type of person that wants to know more about the interface. So I'm kind of glad they kept it out of the showcase for all the games and everything. But
yeah, I was going to say, who really cares? I don't know. Like, it'll be like this game, and then the next game you can play next to it, and the next game you can play next to it, and then there'll be like an options menu, and there'll be a store. There you go. I've solved that for you. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's a really weird thing.
As long as it's functional, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my question for you guys. Like, what do you expect out of the new UI that we didn't have with PS4?
That, but in 4K, it'll be the PS4 menu in 4K.
Yeah.
I don't know what they can do with it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a bit more of the Twitch integration or streaming interaction, but that's not going to be a big thing for most gamers. I can't.
Krabby,
I can't
do you think they'll have a blue screen type of functionality with the PS5 interface for streamers? I'm wondering if that'll happen.
It seems to be something that they've been pushing towards. They want to be improving their share factories, is what they've been saying. So I can imagine that there's definite improvements around that area. Whether they'll make a big difference to the majority of gamers, which most people aren't streamers. So is that the right place for them to focus? I don't know. But
honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, most gamers that are streaming, they're going to be streaming with a capture card, and they're not going to be streaming directly from their PS4, or PS5, I should say.
Xbox Extra's demand on the machine as well, doesn't it? Which is, you want to avoid that frame rates.
Exactly. Yeah. So, okay. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to talk about, actually, there's a question from one of our listeners that I would like to read for you. It's from Burlyman Gaming. So, Crabby, you know Burly.
I love Burly. He's so handsome.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah. So his question to us today is, was Microsoft and Sony's marketing strategy of holding off so long to reveal good or bad? So what do you guys think of this?
As a strategy, I just think they were waiting for each other to blink. Microsoft blinked first. PlayStation just copied the price because that's all they needed to do. And not great for fans, but from a business perspective, I don't think it's going to make any difference to them. I don't think there was that much thought behind it. They just put the thought into their presentations of games.
Dan, what do you think of there?
I don't know. I don't know. In terms of hype, I don't know which is better. I don't know which you want to get details out the door so people are salivating for a long time and then going, here it is. And I don't know. Having like a 2-month launch window, like, hey, it's announced it's going to come out in 2 months from now. Get your pre-orders in now. Maybe that's going to build up even more hype. The sudden rush of information and the release date.
Yeah,
what a mess that was of pre-orders.
It's been an absolute cluster.
A random tweet afterwards where you have to go into the detail of it and click on a link to find out what's going on. It was absurd.
Such a mess.
But it definitely could have been done better. But I think holding off for so long was annoying people, which actually I think kept people talking about it, which probably worked to their advantage. If we annoy people, they're going to talk more than if we keep them happy. So maybe a slightly evil marketing strategy, but it worked.
Yeah, you got to keep that hype train going. So
one way or another.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's time for Dan's retro gaming topic of the week. So every week, Dan comes out and discusses something from the world of retro gaming. So Dan, it's your turn, man. Take it away.
Retro topic of the week. Brilliant. I don't know. It's probably Mario. More bundles, more remakes. I think. Oh no, actually no. I was going to do that, but I want to talk about backwards compatibility because this whole PS5 thing's really kind of annoyed me. Actually, why this god tier console can't run a PS1 game, which will run on a £25 single board computer is really weird, and the push away from that has actually kind of weird and worrying. I don't know how you guys feel about backwards compatibility. I don't know how much you like replaying your old games again and again and again. What are you guys?
Well, for me, I mean, the availability, the chance to be able to do it and to actually play them on your system. I think that's a great thing. Whether or not you want to do it or not, I mean, at least the option is there. That's my take on it. So.
Yeah,
Crabby, what about you? Yeah.
Every now and then I want to play an older game. I can't do it on PlayStation. Because before Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, I wanted to play Red Dead Redemption just to kind of catch up on the storyline and go through it and, just have a bit of fun as John Marston. So I had to get it on the Xbox One, which I had like one of the launch ones because I managed to get it cheap off Facebook or something. And I had to play it through that, which I think wasn't ideal because I prefer playing on PlayStation just because the controllers are better for my hands. But I couldn't, so I had to do it on the Xbox, which it was fine. It's just unfortunate that the PlayStation seems so hard-headed on some subjects, and this is definitely one of them.
I mean, it would take almost no doing. Not being funny, there are like hobbyists have crafted PS1, PS2, and PS3 emulators. Like groups of people on just got their heads together and go, how can we emulate this on a PC? The tech's out there already.
Yeah, somebody managed to upload Doom to a pregnancy test. They can certainly do.
I mean, you'd think, wouldn't you? How hard could it be to get freaking, I don't know, Metal Gear Solid 1 running on a bloody PS5, this ultra powerful console. It just seems really weird. But it like famously, it's been quite a big thing in like previous console launches, like back in the day. But that's the SNES and Mega Drive. One of the launch battle fights was the fact that the SNES had no backwards compatibility, whereas the Mega Drive did. You could play Master System games on it with an adapter, and it just seems, I don't know, it just seems weird that. And like with so many sequels and with like these massive franchises that have been going on for decades now, still coming out now, still getting new additions, there's like the means to go back and play the earlier games to, like you said, like to fill yourself in on the story and what's happened before, and that just isn't available for a lot of things. It just seems a bizarre choice.
Maybe Sony are going ultra evil and holding them all back so then they can sell the remasters for like 60 quid again.
I mean, there's always
that's
that,
exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, or it's a case of like we'll have our own subscription service for the classics. So there'll be like a PlayStation Classic subscription service, or they'll add it onto PlayStation Now, whatever PlayStation Now is going to become in light of PS5. They'll just incorporate that in as another tier, as another level to get revenue from.
PlayStation Now Classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo's got that, but it's only 10 quid a year, so I'm happy to bite that bullet. Yeah,
it's a bargain.
Yeah, it's an absolute bargain.
It's fast, but
I don't think PlayStation will ever do it. They just seem so against it.
Yeah, and it's like the massive things like the GTA series and a handful of Star Wars games, and I mean, yeah, it's pretty bonkers. I want more. That's it. So I want. But then again, to play on the original hardware, so that's good. But the amazing thing about the Switch is that they're very lackadaisically embracing their older catalog, which they need to step it up because that's a gold mine. God, get it all out there. But having nice swanky visuals of your older games brought out on the new Switch for portability. Got to say though, Mario 64 on the Switch, could they at least put a little bit of anti-aliasing in? The jaggies on that, Jesus wept. Some of it looks really, really bad.
Has it not come through well? I love that game. I'd be so annoyed if it's not been done well.
Well, like one of the features of the N64 was like it had staggeringly good anti-aliasing. So so if you don't know what that is, anti-aliasing, when you have an edge made of pixels, like a curved edge, it will look like a jagged edge because pixels are square, right? But what the N64 did was they smoothed it out. It was internal. It was built into hardware that had smoothing out of those rough edges.
Oh, cool.
The Switch doesn't have that, and the emulator doesn't have that either. So there are jaggies everywhere, and it looks a bit rough in places. But I don't know how to go on to that. But yeah. So yeah, more backward stuff is what we need. That's my topic of the week.
Cool. All right, thanks, Dan. So next up is the new and upcoming video game releases by Metacritic. So for the week of September 21st through 27th, there are 9 games on the list. So 9 games this week. So let's go ahead and run through them. The first game, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim on the 22nd in the US for PS4. So, and that is an exclusive. So a departure from the studio's traditional fantasy style, the game takes place in a modern setting punctuated with giant mechs. Although the world may be bleak, Vanillaware's signature artistic shine and gorgeous aesthetics will bring the characters and story of 13 Sentinels to life. So role-playing, adventure, action RPG, which comes out on the 22nd. So have you guys ever heard of that? 13 Sentinels?
No.
I don't know. Yeah. And so, yeah. So that's coming out on the 22nd. Halo 3 ODST for PC is coming out on the 22nd. So experience the events leading up to Halo 3 through the eyes of orbital drop shock troopers, ODST, as they search for clues leading to the whereabouts of their scattered squad and the motivations behind the Covenant's invasion of New Mombasa, I'm sorry. I played this on Game Pass for console, and now it's finally coming to the PC, so I'm looking forward to that.
It's a good one. It's like a detective game couched in the Halo universe. It's all right. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I'll have to give that a go. It'll be on Game Pass for PC, won't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
so it's it's a great game. So next up, Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. Comes out on September 22nd for PS4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. So, out of cash, out of luck, out on the fringe, Juno Markev has a killer to tail, a debt to pay, and more trouble headed her way. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw takes place in a greasy, blue-collar world of outlaws, truckers, cops, and thieves. So, action-adventure open world. So, that comes out on the 22nd. So, have any of you heard of Rebel Galaxy Outlaw?
I played the first one.
Played the first one, yeah.
Yeah, there's a sequel, isn't it? There's a game called Rebel Galaxy, which is like wow, it's a really weird space combat trading game. Yeah. Everything handles like pirate ships. All the combat is like it's on a flat like 2D plane, and you kind of like just rotate around each other shooting. It was all right.
Okay. Crabby, how about you? Have you heard of Rebel Galaxy Outlaw?
Not heard of it. The description sounded kind of fun, but no, I've not heard of it.
Okay. Anyway, next, Gnomes and Goblins on September 23rd for PC. It's a PC exclusive. So embark on a dreamlike journey in this fantasy adventure VR simulation. Encounter goblin inhabitants, become part of their society, and save them from their foe. Freely roam the enchanted forest to discover deeper layers of their mysterious ways and reap the rewards of this magical world. So, adventure 3D first person coming on the 23rd. So, for PC.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Serious Sam 4 comes on September 24th for PC and Google Stadia.
Oh yeah, that still exists. Awesome.
Yeah, it still exists, man. Google Stadia. Serious Sam 4, Planet Badass reignites the classic series and takes you on an adventure full of bullets, guts, and one-liners. So, action shooter, first-person shooter arcade comes out on the 24th. So,
oh, cool.
The Crabby, it seems like someone out there is...
Yeah, I'm having some trouble in a minute. Yeah.
That's no problem, man. No problem.
No worries.
Yeah. Tears of Avia comes out on September 24th for PC and Xbox One. So, Tears of Avia is a turn-based strategy and tactics game set in the beautiful world of Estera. Navigate through war-torn environments, discover the secrets behind ancient, long-abandoned cities, and decide where your own morality, I should say, ultimately lies. So role-playing strategy, turn-based action RPG with tactics comes out. Yeah. So on the 24th, Mafia Definitive Edition on the 25th for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. This is one I'm pretty much looking forward to the most for this week. Part 1 of the Mafia crime saga, 1930s, Lost Heaven. Remade from the ground up, rise through the ranks of the Mafia during the Prohibition era of organized crime. After running with the mob, cab driver Tommy Angelo is thrust into a deadly underworld. So, from Hangar 13 developer. So, yes, looking forward to that. Yeah, I was a few months back, I was streaming Mafia 2 on Game Pass. It was pretty cool. So, yeah, pretty cool to play that again. Next game up, Port Royale 4 on September 25th for PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Okay.
So, set sail and join the colonial powers of Spain, England, France, and the Netherlands in their fight for supremacy of the Caribbean in the 17th century. In Port Royale 4, you will take control of a colony as a young and ambitious governor eager to learn what it takes to manage and grow. So, strategy real time. So it comes out on the 25th. The 25th.
So. It sounds my kind of fire, but I'll have to have a look at that.
Yeah. And finally, Troll Hunters, Defenders of Arcadia on September 25th. So, for PS4, Xbox One, PC, and the Nintendo Switch. So, Troll Hunters, jump into the world of Troll Hunters as Jim Lake Jr. to stop Porgon the Trickster Troll and his sneaky plans. Team up with Claire in couch co-op and also get a helping hand from lots more lovable characters to face unknown evil forces and help stop the time apocalypse. So, action. So,
is that
Way Forward developer?
Oh.
Yeah, Dan? What's
Is
that?
that based on those little dolls with the mad hair?
I'm not sure. I think it might. Crabby, do you know? I'm not sure on that one.
Sounds
I have
amazing.
no idea about this game. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Sounds brilliant. I'll be up for that. I'll play that one.
Yeah. So that comes out on the 25th. So those are the 9 games that are releasing this week. For me, Mafia Definitive Edition is my pick. What about you, Dan? What's your pick for this week?
A troll-based game sounds fun.
Troll Hunters, cute. Yeah.
Troll Hunters is what I'll be playing at some point.
Cool. Crabby, how about you? Which one of these games stands out? Which one do you want to play?
I'll probably go in Mafia Definitive Edition, but I'll probably wait for a sale.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, it's based on a cartoon. Oh, Troll Hunters, sorry. I'm researching it now because I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
Right. Okay. So those are the games coming out. So now, before we end the show, I want to let everyone know once again where you can find the podcast. You can head over to the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, as well as on Spotify. Just download your favorite podcast app or open Spotify and search for the Arena, a Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a website for the podcast at expat2020.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. If you'd like to support the show and get early access to every episode and listen ad-free along with other perks, please visit patreon.com/expat2020 for further details. On social media, you can follow the podcast on Twitter at The Arena AMPGNP, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at expat_2020, and on my YouTube channel, Expat2020 Gaming. You can see my latest videos related to new game releases, game trailer impressions, as well as this podcast. You can also find me on Facebook at Expat2020, and I have a Discord named the Expat 2020 Arena, where all of you are welcome to discuss anything and everything related to video games, as well as leave questions and comments for the podcast. And I'm also a live streamer on Twitch, but I'm taking kind of a break from that at the moment. I'll probably be coming back in the next couple of weeks, though. But you can still go to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/expat2020. And you can see all of my highlights and clips that I've made recently. So that's it for me. Dan, what's going on at the Center for Computing History, and where can people find you on social media?
So I have a YouTube channel, Press Start to Game. It's in the link on the about the co-host page on Podbean. And Centre, we're getting ready to reopen. Actually, we're working towards reopening after the lockdown. So there's lots of work going on. But yeah, and making a few videos in the meantime. But yeah, got a couple of good reveals coming out in regards to our video output. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me at the moment.
Cool. Crabby, where can people find you on social media, man?
Okay, yeah. So CrabbyX10 on Twitter and on Twitch. Keep it simple, really. So yeah, that's where you find me.
Okay, man. And thanks a lot for coming on the show today. And we really appreciate it. Yeah, and we hope you come back, man. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yes, I'll certainly come back. Sorry about the noise at the end. My kid and my puppy seem to have had a fight.
Who won?
Judging by the noise, I think the puppy, which is good.
Good, that's the correct order of things.
All right. Hey, man, Crabby, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it, man. It's okay. So, to end the show, we're going to have our indie recording artist spotlight, and this week's artist is Yanivi, widely known for his powerhouse live DJ shows from his album titled Bouncing Electronic Banger. And the song is called Turn It Up. So this is Expat 2020 along with my co-host Dan and our special guest, CrabbyX10. This has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. We hope to see you in the next one. So take care, everybody. Peace out.
Bye.
Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector.